Lee Byung-Chul was born the youngest son of 4 siblings to Kang Lim and Le Chang Woo Bi. He was the son of a prosperous Yangban family that owned land. Though as a minor branch of the Le clan, that land was located in U County province of South China. The Yang in society was comparable to the landed nobility in the Middle East, Europe, China, and Japan, and was usually the privileged ruling class. He was born during a time of great struggle in the then Korean Empire in 1910, as it was the time during which the Empire of Japan was annexing the country as a colony. Still, most of the Korean Yangban turned into the Korean nobility that the Japanese used to control the country. And Lee Byung-Chul family was one of them, keeping the privilege. He finished high school at Seoul's Judo High School and then moved to Tokyo to go to Wade University for his college education. Though he did not finish his time after returning from Japan, it can be surmised that he spent the time looking after his family's properties and estates. During this time, the Japanese government also started to force people to adopt the Japanese way of life. So dealing with such a predicament may also have taken up his time. After this time, he eventually started his own business. A grocery trading company that he named Samsung Trading Company. The name Samsung means 3 stars. The name came from the way Koreans see a constellation. In Korean folklore, the constellation is about a good dragon fighting against a bad dragon. With the Samsung Trading Company, Lee Byung-Chul traded noodles and other consumer products made in and around the city of Dalian and then exported to China and its provinces. As World War II broke out in Korea and Japan, people stopped buying things they didn't need. As a result, there was more demand for things like food and personal care products. Because the business was doing well, Lee moved its headquarters to Seoul in 1947. He was forced to flee Seoul when the Korean War started because the Korean People's Army had taken over most of South Korea. He traveled to Busan and concentrated on building the sugar refinery there, which he did in 1953. In 1954, he founded Chile Industries. These businesses were established under the Samsung brand, effectively diversifying it into different kinds of products. As a side note, Chiang is the top food culture company in Korea, and does advanced research on food. It was also during this time that Lee had a partner named Cho Hong-jae, who was responsible for breaking Samsung into other kinds of goods. But they had a dispute over differences in management style. And therefore, the Samsung Group was divided into the Hyung Group, the Samsung Group, Hankook Tire, and other companies. During this period, Samsung was run with the focus aim of helping Korea industrialize rapidly. His company benefited from the new protectionist measures. The Korean government had put in place these measures aimed at aiding the table or large domestic conglomerates by shielding them from competition and facilitating easy financing. Samsung was one of those companies, as he ran it as a family-owned business, grooming his third son, Lee Kun-hee, to take over. Eventually, the company bought 3 of Korea's biggest commercial banks in the late 1950s, along with an insurance provider, a cement manufacturer, and a fertilizer manufacturer. In the 1960s, Samsung bought additional insurance firms, an oil refinery, a nylon manufacturer, and a department store. In 1969, Samsung started making electronics. The company has a number of divisions that work on electronics. These included Samsung Semiconductors, and Telecommunications, Samsung Electromechanical, and Samsung Electronics Devices. A partnership between Samsung and Sanyo also got underway, opening the door for manufacturers of consumer goods like TVs and microwaves. The first black and white TVs that Sanyo produced were for the Korean market in 1970. They were a big success because Korean consumers preferred them to Japanese sets. Samsung was able to come up with new ideas quickly because it was already a major manufacturer in Korea, and owned 50% of the Korean semiconductor industry. Samsung also made transistors, black and white TVs, color TVs, refrigerators, electric desks, calculators, and air conditioners. Over the following 10 years, the company produced 5 million TVs. In 1978, Samsung Heavy Industries was one of the world's biggest shipbuilders. By 1974, the business had founded Samsung Electronics America, and the Suwon R&D Center in the later part of the 1970s. By this time, it was clear Lee Byung-Chul had made enough money. He was already consistently topping the list of the richest Koreans. He also held the position of chairman of the Federation of Korean Industries, a powerful business organization made up of the top businessmen in the nation, including representatives from LG and Samsung. This gave the Chapels significant influence over the development of the nation's fiscal and monetary policies, the effects of which are still being debated today, with the acquisition of Hanguk Genja Tongsin. In 1980, Samsung made its entrance into the telecommunications hardware sector. Samsung started out making telephone switchboards, then developed into telephone and fax systems before switching to the production of mobile phones. In 1988, it was around this time in 1987 that Lee Byung-Chul died a natural death, leading to the previously mentioned Lee Kun-hee, his third son, taking over as president of Samsung. At first, Samsung did not see the sales it had hoped for because Motorola, a 1928-founded telecommunications company, already controlled 60% of the Korean mobile phone market. At the time, Samsung only had a 10% share of the market. This problem continued for a number of years, and Samsung's products became known for their poor performance and quality. It is said that because of these problems, company management frequently thought about leaving the cell phone market. Samsung is one of the few mobile phone companies that has gone above and beyond and reached the top of the market. Despite the fact that it is not the only business to have struggled in the mobile phone sector, companies like LG and Amazon have completely failed in such endeavors. It wasn't until 1995, a few years after Samsung released its first cell phone, it was decided that the company needed a new business plan for the future. The person who initiated this change was Lee Kun-hee. It was decided that the business would focus more on new technology than on the less popular and less profitable goods they were selling before. The company decided to invest in new technologies rather than continue with such products. Early in the 21st century, Samsung's tech business grew and grew, and it eventually passed Sony to become the 20th largest consumer company in the world. Additionally, it cemented its position as the best-liked consumer brand overall. He also led the company to invest heavily in the development of smartphones. The Samsung Galaxy S, the company's first smartphone, was released in June 2010. The new phone was well received by the public, which compared it favorably to other popular Android-powered smartphones like the Nexus One and HTC Desire. Critics and news media alike praised the Galaxy S for its Super AMOLED display, but it also faced criticism for its subpar GPS features and deteriorating performance over time. Samsung has produced dozens of smartphones since the launch of the Galaxy S, each one outperforming the last in terms of new features and system upgrades. Some products, like the Galaxy Note Edge, achieved the highest levels of success due to their curved screen edges. The 2014 release of the Galaxy Note Edge was distinctive. This curved screen technology has been incorporated into many phones that have been released since the first Edge, including the Galaxy S8 and S9. The phone, which at the time was viewed as more of a concept product, was nevertheless widely publicized and served as an inspiration for subsequent phones. Samsung has come a long way since the company's first smartphone was released in 2010. Following the recent death of his father, Lee Kun, Lee Jiang now leads Samsung. However, the company has been facing the consequences of a major scandal. The performance of over 10,000 apps, including system apps, Google Apps, Instagram, TikTok, Netflix, Microsoft Office, and other third-party apps, was found to be slower by over 56% when Samsung's game optimization service was tested on some of the Galaxy flagship devices. Additionally, it became clear that the GS restrictions did not include apps. This means that even though apps were slowing down for Galaxy users, their devices were still reporting exaggerated performance numbers for these apps. In fact, due to the problem, the well-known benchmarking website, Geekbench, resigned from supporting Samsung's most recent flagship smartphones. Zhang assured Samsung customers at the company's annual shareholders meeting that the company would listen to customers more closely to prevent such an issue from happening again. Lee Byung-Chul's own succession to leadership was complicated by Korean law. He issued a rare apology over contentious succession plans and declared he would not give his children management rights at the family-run conglomerate. President of the Republic of Korea Moon Jae succeeded his ousted predecessor Park Yong-hee in 2017 and campaigned on a platform of reforming family-run conglomerates that control the economy. Samsung's current interest in AI is evidence that it has no plans to slow down in its effort to produce cutting-edge technology for the general public. The Galaxy S8 introduced Samsung's built-in AI system, Dixie, which functions similarly to Apple's Siri and already provides users with an AI experience with its effort to integrate AI into people's daily lives. Samsung is now advancing further into the field of artificial intelligence. According to Samsung, it is now concentrating on the user experience and advantages of using AI with a primary focus on the user rather than just the AI itself. Samsung will continue to try to embrace the use of AI in its upcoming devices. By 2022, Samsung intends to invest $22 billion in cutting-edge technology, with 5G and AI taking the lead. Samsung intends to hire 1,000 new scientists at focused research facilities around the world. As part of its research initiative, overall projected investments in the coming future are supposed to reach over $206 million. The company claims that this move will give it the opportunity to improve its position internationally in cutthroat markets like the chip market while also giving it new growth prospects in next-generation, telecommunications, and robotics. The precise sums that Samsung Electronics will spend on each of the industries highlighted were not broken down. However, it was emphasized once again that mergers and acquisitions are being considered in order to consolidate technology and take the lead in the market. This means they are going back to their tried and true method of advancing their technology by acquiring new companies and startups. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more content like this. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a video.